welcome back to my channel. It is tea time. And I'm gonna answer or try to answer the question, how do I know he's the one? Or how did you know he was the one? And it's a simple response. I just knew. Like, no, what kind of response is that? No, that's not how it works. So anyway, we're gonna dive in here. So I don't know if you guys remember the show Ugly Betty. I was too young to watch it like when it first came out, so I tried watching it as an adult and I got kind of bored. But I'm kind of going for an Ugly Betty vibe, with the pigtails. I remember the actress like talked about how when she comes to set, they like try to get her ugly, and that's kind of what I do for this channel, because it is supposed to be kind of like a nerdy, driven, focused sort of channel, even though most of the time we just shoot the breeze. That's my life though. So anyway, let's dive in here. So how do I know that he's the one? Or how did you know that he was the one? And everybody always answers with that response, like, oh, I just knew, or we just knew. And that's not concrete. That's not substantial. And you gotta remember, yes, I'm a music therapist, but I technically am a math and science person. Like, that's honestly why but believe it or not, that is like why I got into music, because music's math, or at least it's very similar to math. And then the science aspect, that's where the music therapy comes in. That's why I really wanted to work in a hospital as a music therapist. So I am a science and math type of person. I'm very to the books, number oriented. Yeah, I can't really stare at spreadsheets all day long, but like, answers to questions have to be black and white, and I've always been that way. Even though I'm a musician, I still believe black and white. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so telling me like, oh, I just knew, I don't really think that helps. I don't really think that answers a question. Like, maybe you did just know, or maybe there was some sort of feeling or thought, but like, you got to give me a little bit more substance than just that. So that's what we're going to dive in here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my own personal romantic experiences. So, as you guys know, I've only really had a couple of boyfriends. I don't really like dating. To be honest, I don't really like dating guys that much, believe it or not. Like, I kind of want a guarantee, just because like I don't really want to waste my time, and I think most women can understand that. But the thing is that you're not gonna know unless you try, so that's why I'm where I'm at. Now, I have gone on several dates with guys. I just haven't called many of them boyfriends. That's, I guess, where we're at. And the ones that I have called boyfriends, we just had a lot in common. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit and tell you about, like, high school, college guys. And it was often, like, we were friends, and then we started dating. So, like, when we started dating, these people became, like, my best friend, right? Because you're spending all your time with them. And then I thought about it, and then, like, I don't know, I didn't want my husband to be my best friend. I know that's like kind of a really weird and difficult aspect to grasp for people like in our generation or my generation, because everybody says like, oh, my honey is my best friend, or my husband is my best friend. But I don't want my husband to be my best friend. I mean, my parents, they're not each other's best friends. My grandparents, my great-grandparents, okay, let's even back it up further. My great-grandparents who had arranged marriages, they didn't get married because they were best friends. Heck, they probably didn't have anything in common. But the fact of the matter is that they will make a good family, and that's why they got married, to provide, to create a good family, a huge normal, because back then they believed in a nuclear family. But the point of the matter was you two belong together because you will make a nuclear family. And even my grandparents were kind of that way too. I mean, they wasn't an arranged marriage. They were the first ones, like, first generation Americans, so they didn't have an arranged marriage, but they still married like within the community. And I guess they had more in common than an arranged marriage, but they still balanced each other out, like family dynamic wise. And my parents still do that now. Like, my parents get along great. They have a lot in common. They like to do a lot of things together, but they are not each other's best friends. I mean, my dad's best friend is a guy that he's been friends with since kindergarten. My mom's best friend, well, she has a multitude of best friends because that's just how women are. But her best friends come from different sectors of her life. Some of them came from grammar school, middle school, high school, work. But you know how women are. We have like, women have friends for different reasons, whereas like men have like one good friend. And I mean, I guess like I have one really good best friend, and I don't really want to be married to somebody with those characteristics. Like, I don't know. That's just me. So that's something that I don't know, I discovered through this whole dating ritual. And another thing that I discovered too, and this is like coming back to our point here, is that when you think about somebody and how do you know if they're the one? Well, my best advice that I can give you is to just envision your future with them. And like, when I say envision, I don't mean like create a future. I mean just think about it. Think about like certain aspects. So one aspect, like I mentioned, is the best friend thing. Like I don't want to go to the mall with my husband and try on shoes. Like, I don't want to go to the bar and get drunk with my husband. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to dye my hair or do a face mask with my husband. These are things that I do with my best friend. So that's like number one thing. Like, if I can see, like, I have to see doing other things. Like I want to be able to travel with my husband. I want to be able to go for long walks after dinner. So that's kind of, I guess, where it would start. Like, oh, we both bond over, I don't know, the gym. I think it'd be cool if we like went to the gym together on a Saturday morning. Maybe not necessarily doing the same thing, because I hate couples that like literally exercise together and do the same exact thing. Don't you people realize that like women and men, like, or even women and women, men and men, they all need different workout routines. You can't be like, if you're in a class together, that's a different story. But like, I hate when couples exercise together at the gym, because clearly somebody is stronger than somebody else, and usually it's because of like gender or like whatever background they have actively. So like, you really shouldn't be doing the same workout as your significant other unless you guys are taking like, I don't know, cycling class for the first time. Like, that doesn't bother me, but I hate when couples exercise legit together at the gym. So there you go. There's another thing. I don't want to be doing the same thing as my significant other at the gym. But we can go to the gym together. That's totally fine. And then we can go to brunch afterwards, and then we can take a walk afterwards. That's great. That sounds like a beautiful plan. So there you go. So that's like kind of how, for me, that's kind of how it starts. Like, okay, I can see, like, oh, I really want to go to the beach. What about you? Yeah, the beach is my dream vacation too. Okay. So yeah, so that's where it starts. And then you start to envision other things like, where do you want to live? Do you want to live in a city, or do you want to live in the suburbs? I technically right now, I consider myself living in the city because like it's so easy to get into this city. Actually, I have like 5 major cities at my fingertips if I take the train or fly or the bus. so so I consider, and there is one, and I can tell you guys where I live, but there is one specific city that's super close to me, and I can take I can drive there, but I can take public transportation and get there really quickly. Like if I worked in the city, I could get there through public transportation, and that's kind of one of the main reasons why I consider myself living in the city. My Prince Charming, he thinks that I live in the suburbs outside of the city, because I guess technically I do, but where I live, there's no room for like a yard or a white picket fence or a swing set. You know, like I have a yard, but it's not big enough for a swing set. Anyway, so it was decided though that because I said that I really liked living here because like I live in the city, but I'm not paying city rent, so that's like the main reason why I love it. And this is going to be a very highly marketable place in the future. So like buying property here would be a good investment. My significant other, on the other hand, said that he loved this area because you could walk to the bar, you could walk to restaurants, you could walk to the store, you can drive. It's super close to drive into the city, and you have all those 5 major cities like at your fingertips. So it was kind of, I guess, even though we didn't really agree on whether this is the city or the suburbs, but it was agreed upon that we want public transportation and we want to be close enough to a city, but not so close that you're in the city paying monthly for parking, because that's just plain ridiculous. Like literally, if I got an apartment like in the city, I'd have to pay like $500 a month for a parking space, and that's ridiculous because like $500 a month is rent in some places. Like in Philadelphia, sometimes there's like a couple of places, I mean, they're not really the best of places, but you can get an apartment for $500 a month. Some of the crummy places, definitely in the South, right? Because the South is way cheaper. Anyway, so that's another thing. Like, oh, okay, we both like living in the same area. We both like places, you know, or I guess towns that are close enough to like cities and big populations that you can drive or you can take public transportation. So there you go. So we just moved up a little bit. So we first started talking about dream vacation. Then we got into restaurants a little bit and grocery stores. And then we got into like, where do you want to live? Where do you see yourself? Okay, moving on. Third and final, how do you know he's the one or she or, you know, whatever you're into? Well, last but not least, and I think this is the most important one, is that when you think about each other, what do you picture? So here comes the tea. Now, I dated somebody right in high school, and I didn't. When I pictured our life together, I pictured us graduating high school, and that was pretty much it. Then next guy, right, went through all the steps and got to step 3. Okay, what do you picture, you know, when you picture us together? And for this specific person, I pictured living in a 3-bedroom apartment, working as a music therapist part-time, and having 3 kids and not knowing when he was going to come home. Like, anyway, not like not knowing when he was going to come home, but like, you know, is he staying late today? Is he not staying late today? Is he going in early? I don't know. I can't keep track because I'm dealing with the kids, that kind of lifestyle. And not that lifestyle is bad, but that's not the lifestyle I wanted to live. Like, I wanted, you know, I want a Victorian home. I want a huge mansion. No, I'm just kidding. But I do someday. But as of right now, like, you know, I'd be fine with a small ranch, a $200,000 home, you know, something, a multifamily home, a condo, you know, and like that's what I kind of want to see myself in. And with this specific person, I didn't. I saw myself living in an apartment all cramped up. And like that's not the life that I wanted, you know. Now, with my current gentleman caller, Prince, I don't really know what to call him, but I'll figure out a name eventually. With my current significant other, so I guess when did I figure out he was the one? Well, I'm not a dog person, and when I see our future together, I envision us living in a nice center hall colonial. That's like the kind of house that every typical person wants. Every family wants a center hall colonial with the white picket fence and a sidewalk, you know. So I can picture us living in like that sort of like environment with a golden retriever. And I hate dogs, but like for some reason I could see us living in a house like that with a dog and being okay with it. And that's, I guess, how I knew. And I know like that's like kind of weird, but like think about it. Like if you picture yourself living with your significant other and you picture yourself living in an apartment, and for even though it's an apartment you're okay with it, then that's great, you know. For me, I wasn't okay with it. And even like there were some other people I dated and like they really wanted to have dogs in the future, and I was like, no, I don't want a dog. Like I'm not a dog person, and I'm still not a dog person. But with this particular person, when I envision our life together, I do envision it a house, a white picket fence, and a dog. And in this vision, I'm not mad that we have a dog, because I guess I trust the fact that like he wants the dog, he'll take care of it. Whereas in the past, like I mentioned, the one guy that I was dating, like I didn't really know when he was gonna come home or when he was gonna stay late or when he was gonna go into work. So clearly you could see that the relationship, like there wasn't a strong sense of communication, and there isn't a strong sense of communication when you're young and you don't really know how to communicate to begin with. So how are you supposed to communicate in a relationship? So anyway, so that's my advice, is that you work it up in steps. It's really important to like envision your life together and envision like what do you see, like how do you know he's the one? Well, envision your life together, but take it in steps. Don't like second date start like, oh, well, I want a house, so, you know, or oh, you know, I guess the townhouse is okay with this person. Like, no, because plenty of my friends have done that before when I've told them this advice, and that never works. That never ever works. But like the best thing to do is just take it step by step. Like, ask, where do you want to go on vacation? Where do you want to go to dinner? You know, what do you want to do on a Saturday? And then move it up. Okay, like, where do you want to live the rest of your life? Do you want to stay in this state? Do you want to stay in this city? Do you want to stay in this town? And then kick it up a notch. How do you then? Where do you envision? Okay, like I envision us in a house, you know. And I think, well, I'm gonna leave you guys with this point. I don't think you should ever settle. Like, never ever settle. There are billions of people out here in the world. There's plenty. There's plenty of men. There's plenty of women. There's plenty of people. I don't think you should ever go back in time and date somebody that you already dated. Even if they changed, whatever. It's just too much. It's too much work. And relationships, like when you first start dating, it shouldn't be that much work. When you're married for 40 years and you have crying kids, then it's going to be a lot of work. But like when you're in the beginning stages of your relationship, it shouldn't be a lot of work. And that tends to happen like if you get back together with somebody you already dated. So just remember that there's like so many people out here in the world, and never settle. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. It's 2020. Like it doesn't matter if like, you know, you're 35 and you just broke up with somebody because you can't, I don't know, you guys can't agree on city or suburbs. Like that's fine. That's good, you know? And it doesn't matter if you're a woman like me and like, you know, you only have a certain amount of time to have a baby. Well, you don't have to be married to have a baby. Heck, you don't even have to be in a relationship to have a baby. So like the best thing to do is to just be honest with yourself. And the sooner that you can accomplish these steps, like the sooner you'll be able to figure out if the relationship is worth staying in. Because like if you can answer these questions within a year of dating, then like, you know, it's easier to move on. So that's my advice. Never settle. Follow these 3 steps. That way you can find your true love. And you can find them in a timely manner. Like make sure that you accomplish these 3 steps mentally in your head. You know, you only have to ask your significant other for the first 2. The last one you can envision in your mind. And then that way you'll know. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it helps anybody who's suffering. I know a lot of people on Reddit are kind of suffering with relationships. I like to go on Reddit and then like anonymously give a relationship advice, because y'all know I'm a therapist, but the people on Reddit don't know. And it's funny. Anyway, it's fun though. It's fun to help people out, and I've noticed that a lot of people are struggling. So I hope that this helps. And I hope you're all safe and happy. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.